Hello, babies. I wanted to stop in this fine Monday morning and let you all know that you are all just a whole great big lot of beautiful ascended masters. And I'm not talking about the theological / religious competition rivalries between dogmas and doctrines between people that wring their hands over being right. I'm just talking about who you are. Because you have been made perfect. You have been sanctified. You are raised with Jesus and ascended into the heavenly places with Him. So just receive your ascent and understand your perfection. There's no effort in this launch pad. There's no effort in rising to your real stature in Jesus Christ, because He's raised you up with Himself and seated you together with Him in heavenly places. And that's a whole lot of good news. Some of us come with heat and bitterness of spirit, because I know that the ascent of Ezekiel, when he was cast into the throes of ecstasy, it says that by the lock of his head, the Spirit lifted him up in the heat and the bitterness of his spirit. And there's so many qualifications we put on ourselves, but babies, you are qualified. You are qualified. You're not disqualified. Just a moment while I accelerate. A whole lot of acceleration. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling a pump. I'm feeling some goosebumps and some tingliness that I haven't felt for a while. There is an outpouring. There is an ascent. The powers of heaven are shaken. And it's not that you settle into your eschatological end times rightness and think that there are judgments going on in the universe and the stars are going to fall like figs as Jesus prophesied, because that is a perception, that's a proximity. There is a reality of seeing luminaries and rulers in high places fall. Because there is war in heaven. Because there are conflicts. It says that Michael stands up on behalf of the people. The archangel Michael stands up on the behalf of the people of God. Stands up on your behalf. And there's war in heaven. And Michael and his angels fought, and the dragon, Satan, and his angels fought back, and they weren't strong enough. That's one of my favorite verses. Revelation 12 verse 8. They weren't strong enough. And they were cast down. But be renewed in the spirit of your mind and don't look outwardly, because the kingdom of God is within. The kingdom of God is in your midst. The powers of heaven are shaken inasmuch as you are raised up. And that there is a warfare going on. There is a renewal of mind. There is a binding of limitations of your thoughts. There is a binding of the restrictions of your dreams. And this is a real warfare. The kingdom suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. But it's a good warfare, because by the renewal of your mind, the manifold wisdom of God is made known to you, the height and the width and the breadth and the depth of the heights of the revelation of the unforeseen dimensions that are bursting out before you. We've got height, width, breadth, and depth. And that's 4 dimensions, but there are multifaceted dimensions of glory opening to you by the manifold wisdom of God. And by these breadths, there are allotments, and there are lines, and there's boundaries, and there are borders that we imagine. And then when these things are crossed on earth, that must be war. There must be an infliction of suffering, and there's an engagement of violence. Well, let's wring our hands and try to be as placid and as peaceful as possible. Pacifism isn't a virtue of the kingdom of heaven, babies. When you awaken to the manifold wisdom of God and understand the breadths that belong to you, the lines on earth have to be called into alignment with the lines wherein he found delight to set you. The lines on earth have to find alignment, have to come into agreement with the lines wherein he found pleasure to set you. Shambem bima heremeni kosin dion di ma pombara ma senzits mauruanguakangia dradra barara kiledidibidi kite. And it's a good warfare, babies. It's the breaths, it's your lot. It's just what belongs to you. I'm thinking of Gideon, whose lines were restricted, who threshed wheat in an empty wine vat to hide himself from the scourge of the Midianites. Settled for a whole lot of lower living. He wasn't yet awakened to the breadths. He wasn't yet awakened to the multifaceted dimensions of spirit, of the renewal of his mind. But when he was hailed, when the angel visited him and said, "Hail you, mighty man of valor," he's like, "Who, me?" The angel saw his dimensions, but Gideon wasn't renewed in his mind yet to perceive them. So be caught up in the renewal of your mind. Even if you're settling for low living, even if you're settling for the constraint of the lines that you think is your only lot, settling for besetting sins and improprieties of flesh, cheating or lying or cutthroat maneuvers at the job site, or your secret pornography addictions and masturbations. It's like Gideon abiding in these lower lines. But babies, you're so much more than that. You're beautiful. You are an ascended master. And God's not standing off. He's not standing apart. He sees the lines wherein he set you. And he understands that you don't get it.